Coming up on Newsource at 5, learn about 2 mayoral candidates and their priorities to serve the community of Watkinsville. Then, how Oconee County's supply and labor shortages impacts the county's ability to feed students in schools. Later, find out why a former NFL player is now training up-and-coming firefighters. All of this and more up next on Grady Newsource.
This is Northeast Georgia's only local source for TV news. From the Grady College at the University of Georgia, this is Grady Newsource.
Good evening. I'm Nikki Schatz. Thank you for joining me for Grady Newsource. The municipal elections are just 6 days away, and 2 candidates are running for Watkinsville mayor. Grady Newsource reporter Sam Perez has what you need to know about each candidate.
Rebecca Billings and incumbent Brian Broderick are both running for Watkinsville mayor. I spoke with them about their plans to best serve the city. Broderick is a lifetime Oconee County resident and the current mayor. His 3 main priorities are best spaces, best places, and best people. Billings was born and raised in Watkinsville, and she says she's looking to bring a fresh perspective to the city government because she's only been involved with politics for 2 years. Billings' main priorities are to slow down traffic, improve communication, and ensure wise financial management of taxpayer dollars. Billings says she thinks the government is spending too much and would make budgeting the first item on her to-do list if elected.
I feel like we're spending too much constantly, so we need to, just because we have money doesn't mean we have to spend it. We can be a little more aware and make wise decisions and involve the residents a little bit more.
Oconee County residents are set to vote on the Transportation Local Option Sales Tax, or T-SPLOST, which is a sales tax of up to 1% used exclusively for funding transportation purposes. Oconee County has identified 4 categories of projects for the proposed T-SPLOST. Billings says she does not support the T-SPLOST, but instead would focus on a transportation survey of the truck bypass, which has already been approved. She also hopes to have police crack down on speeding and install more speed bumps in residential areas. On the T-SPLOST, Broderick says,
you're sharing the burden with the people who are coming into your county to do the shopping. And we have a tremendous amount of folks coming from Barrow, from Clark, from Madison, from Oglethorpe to shop in Oconee County. So it makes sense for them to share that burden and reduce the property tax burden on the average homeowner in Oconee County.
The election is coming up on Tuesday, November 2nd. You can cast your vote at your designated precinct from 7 a.m. until 7 p.m. For more information on precincts, visit mpv.sos.ga.gov. For Grady Newsource, I'm Sam Perez.
While official FDA approval of Pfizer's vaccine for kids aged 5 to 11 is still to be decided, on Tuesday, a panel of FDA advisors voted 17-0 with 1 abstention to recommend emergency use of the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine. Pfizer presented the agency with data showing 90.7% effectiveness in this age group's clinical trial. If approved, the dose will contain 1/3 of active ingredients compared to an adult vaccine. Dr. Ashley Hannings from UGA's College of Pharmacy says this approval could be a step toward herd immunity and controlling mutations of COVID-19.
We've definitely seen some downward trends since getting a lot of the adult and teenage population vaccinated. But especially if we start to vaccinate those who are really young, the more protection we have as far as the whole community.
The Biden administration plans to distribute doses of the vaccine immediately following official FDA authorization and CDC recommendation, securing vaccines for 28 million children aged 5 to 11. Certain University of Georgia employees must be fully vaccinated against COVID-19 by December 8th in accordance with federal law. Grady Newsource reporter Michelle Ortiz is here to tell us more on this short deadline.
The University of Georgia has released a statement that all covered employees, including student employees, must be fully vaccinated by December 8th, regardless of full-time or part-time status. The new requirements are in response to President Joe Biden's executive order mandating federal contractors to follow the Center for Disease Control and Prevention's COVID-19 guidelines, with only some exceptions. This executive order was signed on September 9th, but the University of Georgia only yesterday sent an email informing faculty and staff of the vaccine requirement. Since the federal mandate is so broad, UGA's requirement for all covered employees will likely be updated.
Important for everyone to get healthy and for us to all get back to normal and everything. But I think requiring it might be a little too much.
To meet the criteria, those who are yet to be vaccinated will need to receive their last dose 2 weeks before December 8th. With this information, time is of the essence. UGA psychology Dr. Janet Frick says while this mandate is a step forward, UGA's lack of clarity is creating time constraints for those that are unvaccinated.
We are still left in this sort of limbo of well, who does it apply to? So that I think that's a bit frustrating that we still now have to wait for. And to me, more than anything, it's why are we spending time on this? Why are we making this harder than it needs to be?
With this time constraint, employees have limited options on what vaccine they can take. That means after today, receiving the Moderna vaccine for the first time is off the table due to the time it would take to get the second dosage. For Grady Newsource, I'm Michelle Ortiz.
The United States Senate held a hearing about children's safety online yesterday with tech giants TikTok, Snapchat, and YouTube. Grady Newsource reporter Shaylin Carroll has more on the hearing on whether these platforms are doing enough to protect kids.
Representatives from the popular social media platforms TikTok, Snapchat, and YouTube stood before U.S. Senate lawmakers yesterday in a hearing about whether the platforms do enough to protect children online. The hearing was convened by the Senate Commerce Subcommittee on Consumer Protection, Product Safety, and Data Security and lasted nearly 4 hours. Representatives from each platform were presented with many questions and did their best to defend their respective apps.
Snapchat is different. Snapchat was built as an antidote to social media.
Lawmakers are concerned about the platform's potential to hurt users' self-image and contribute to other mental health issues. Senator Richard Blumenthal calls for greater transparency and accountability from the tech giants.
I noticed right away if the kids are grounded from their phone, they're totally different people. They're happier, they're more interactive with me and with their siblings.
Though this was simply a hearing and not a forum for drafting legislation, Congress will continue to look towards implementing regulations in the future. This has been Shaylin Carroll, Grady Newsource.
The vote for the Clark County East Blast tax is this upcoming Tuesday. Grady Newsource's Ballard Akaway gives us an update on what this tax means for Clark County residents.
Next Tuesday, Athens-Clarke County residents will have the chance to vote on the renewal of the East Blast, a tax designed to fund local schools to provide students with proper educational technology. If Clark County residents vote to continue East Blast, the Board of Education projects the tax to raise an estimated $120 million over the next 5 years. Over 60% of the funding for East Blast comes from visitors to Clark County. Clark County Board of Education member Greg Davis says as the community opens back up post-COVID, there should be an uptick in revenue from visitors to Athens-Clarke County.
As we gear up for AthFest and all kinds of events downtown and in Clark County, I'm sure that's going to rise significantly.
The money that comes from East Blast goes towards every school in Athens-Clarke County, including plans for a complete renovation for Clark Middle School. Additions to Clark Middle are scheduled to begin right here, starting in 2022. Now, Clark County SPLOST manager John Gilbert says that if East Blast 6 is passed, then $40 to $45 million will be needed to build a new building right behind the old building, as well as additions to the already standing building. However, Gilbert says that Clark Middle is not the only school planned for renovations here in the future. And if East Blast 6 is passed, then other schools in the area will also receive renovations.
You got major renovations and additions to Cedar Shoals, Gaines, and House Elementary. And if there's enough money, Cleveland Road.
Athens-Clarke County voters will have the chance to vote on the East Blast 6 tax coming up this Tuesday, November 2nd. For Grady Newsource, I'm Ballard Akaway.
After the break, a look at how supply chain and labor shortages are affecting Oconee County schools.
There is a road laid out for me, leading down to
boxes everywhere. And this is going to be Addie's room.
I am blind, but I need not see.
I think you're really going to like it.
I know this road is there for me. There is a love waiting for me.
First night here, but Amy seems cool.
Waist down by river. I am blind, but I need not see. I know this love is there for me.
Nice and slow.
If
I got
I'm
this.
free, take me down to the river
Nice.
and wash me.
Okay. What do you think?
What if you could feel in control of your retirement in just a few clicks? At aceyourretirement.org, you can. Start with a free 3-minute chat with Avo, your friendly digital retirement coach. Just answer some simple questions like, how do you feel about your ability to save for retirement? Or in how many years do you want to retire? To get free action items customized just for you, get your retirement back on track at aceyourretirement.org.
Schools are scrambling nationwide to stock cafeterias with food, supplies, and staff. Grady Newsource reporter Emma Robinson heads to Oconee County to see how supply chain and labor shortages are affecting its schools.
Boxes of spoons sit stacked in the office of Oconee County Schools' Caitlin Brand.
We are having difficulties getting paper products, getting food products, getting a lot of different things.
Brand is the director of school nutrition for the Oconee County school system. Starting her role over the summer, Brand says she and her department have had a challenging start to the school year. Schools in Oconee County and across the country are facing shortages of cafeteria staples, from plastic cutlery to frozen meals. In a recent survey done by the School Nutrition Association, 97% of surveyed school nutrition directors said they were concerned about pandemic supply chain disruptions. These concerns hold true for Brand, who has been struggling to find necessities for Oconee's cafeterias.
I run to Kroger and I'll go there and sometimes it'll just be empty shelves.
And along with missing necessities, Brand and other school nutrition directors nationwide are also being hit with staff shortages. In the same survey done by the School Nutrition Association, 90% of the surveyed school nutrition directors said they were concerned about staff shortages this school year. Economics professor at the University of Georgia, Ian Schmoot, says circumstances have changed in the labor market. For some industries, like schools, maintaining a workforce has been challenging with fixed budgets.
They're resistant to raising wages and salaries because perhaps school districts can't just do that.
Schmoot says the school labor shortages may get better if and when a vaccine for school-aged children is approved.
I think that will play a major role in making a lot of people feel more comfortable.
After facing empty grocery store shelves and understaffed cafeterias, Brand says Oconee is holding on and still putting the kids first, no matter what.
This is a group of people that do things really just for the kids. You know, they're not there because they love the job all the time. They're there because they love working with the kids.
Emma Robinson, Grady Newsource.
Tomorrow is National First Responders Day. Grady News reporter Alyssa McDaniel talks about the critical role of first responders with former UGA alumni and running back Craig Lumpkin, who now works as a training chief for Newton County Fire Department.
Former UGA running back Craig Lumpkin has gone from catching balls in college and pro football to catching hoses. Lumpkin now spends less time on the field and more time at Newton County's firefighter training facility, where he's earned the title of fire training chief. He says that like football, as a training chief, he gets to tackle the job of making sure that the new recruits are equipped for live fires.
Fire department, you put on helmet and equipment, and football, you put on helmet and equipment. It's a match made in heaven.
Lumpkin says that training recruits means practicing forcible entry, running drills in a controlled live fire building, teaching recruits how to quick dress, and preparing them for how to safely pull a patient out of a vehicle. Lumpkin says that just like in football, teamwork and collaborative effort is crucial in success.
We are human, but we're also responding to things that people are running away from. So if you're going into a fire or going into an EMS call and you don't know whose house it is, but they're accepting you to come in, you have to treat them with respect.
Recruit Grayson Segrist explains how Lumpkin has inspired him throughout the training process.
He's also made us like a brotherhood. It's one big family. You know, everybody has each other's backs, and it's made us all closer.
In light of COVID, first responders are needed more than ever. Lumpkin says that helping others is the main goal with the job.
The first responder, it is more of going out to respond to that call and make sure that person is well, or how can you assist that person. I've joined because I'm a giving person. I love to assist, help in any kind of way I can.
There have been discussions about the future of the Georgia-Florida matchup, but Grady Newsource's Davis Baker explains why it won't be changing anytime soon.
It's officially Georgia-Florida rivalry week, with the #1 Bulldogs getting ready to head down to Jacksonville and take on the Gators this upcoming Saturday. And look, there's been a lot of discussion on whether this game should remain at a neutral site in Jacksonville or potentially be moved to on-campus sites, which could help with recruiting for both programs. However, yesterday the Jacksonville City Council unanimously approved a new contract that will keep the game in Jacksonville through 2025. Let's go around and see the student reaction to this news.
I like it in Jacksonville, personally.
And what makes it so attractive in Jacksonville?
Well, the stadium's huge, so you can have a lot of students there, a lot more fans, a lot more revenue for the two schools, and just Jacksonville's a beautiful place, you know, beaches and good weather.
I would rather it be in Athens. I think Athens is like super fun on game days, so I don't really mind though. I'm a freshman, so it's my first year.
A long-time tradition for UGA students has been to head down to Frat Beach at St. Simon's Island the day before the game, but this year the Glenn County Commissioners approved an alcohol ban. How will this affect the travel plans of UGA students?
Well, I'm laughing right now, but I don't think so. Well, maybe they can conceal it or whatever, but I don't think it's going to work out too much.
I hope people take it seriously. I think they made that decision like in our best interest. So I don't know. I'm excited to see how that pans out.
Certainly some differing opinions today, but at least for the foreseeable future, these two teams will not be playing on the field behind me. Back to you in the studio, Nikki.
Coming up, Georgia football prepares for its rival game against the Florida Gators.
During high school, I hung with the wrong crowd and I never graduated.
I helped Santiago in many different ways, like all fathers do, because he always wanted to go to college.
I felt a little embarrassed to come back to school, but eventually once I came here, I knew that it's for a bigger goal.
He was very dedicated, hardworking. He connected with his teachers, he connected with other students. That was one of the key reasons why he was able to keep forging ahead.
It was amazing to see him graduate. This was one thing that meant so much to him, and of course, it meant so much to us too.
With the help of my father and having my son, that was all the motivation that I needed. That support is everything.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
Last week, Brandon met a girl on a dating app. One day after work, he finally found the courage to ask her out. No answer. He started to panic. Was he being too pushy? Maybe it was too...
Hey, sorry I didn't respond. I was driving. I would love to go on a date. How does tonight sound?
Brandon tried to play it cool, but inside he knew. A girl so smart, so responsible. She must be a keeper.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
At
now, sports.
I'm Megan Middlehammer with your Grady Newsource Sports. The #1 Georgia Bulldogs take on the Florida Gators in Jacksonville at 3:30 p.m. on Saturday. The Bulldogs are hoping to continue their win streak despite losing to Florida last year. Head coach Kirby Smart said he feels more prepared for rival Florida than against Auburn because of Arian Smith and Jermaine Burton's improved injuries. Smart doesn't want to dwell on the past. He wants all of the players focused on Saturday's game.
I don't want the players emotional the whole time. You know, that's what the fan wants, but I want them thinking about what they got to do to win this game, and last year's game has nothing to do with this year's game.
In other college sports news, swimming and diving travel to Gainesville to compete against the Gators. The men's tennis team finishes up their tournament in Tallahassee, and the women's soccer team plays against SEC opponent Vanderbilt in Athens tomorrow night. And your Atlanta Braves beat the Houston Astros 6-2 last night in Game 1 of the World Series. They started off strong with a home run from Jorge Soler in the top of the first. Charlie Morton will be out for the remainder of the season after suffering a right fibula fracture during the game. The teams play tonight at 8 p.m. and then travel to Atlanta for Games 3 and 4 at Truist Park. I'm Megan Middlehammer, and this has been your Grady Newsource Sports.
Up next, Grady Newsource reporter Savannah Ware tells us about the weather for the week ahead, including in Florida for those attending the big game.
What do you think you're doing, Kevin? Was just gonna drive home. There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving. Like hearing voices? Like your text-to-emoji ratio? Oh man, the selfies. Selfie, nailed it. We all have warning signs that let us know that we're probably not okay to drive. Mine is pretending to be your subconscious. Craig, come on man, let's put a ride home.
Part-time job, full-time hustle, all-time Shiro to all of us. You nurture, we listen. You teach, we thrive. You lift our spirits, but we've got to lay down the truth. It's time for you, our Shiro, to stretch for the stars. A free online chat can give you the personalized tips you need to start boosting your retirement savings today. Start saving more for retirement so you can feel prepared and live your life to the fullest. Visit aceyourretirement.org.
And now, the weather.
I'm Savannah Ware with your Northeast Georgia forecast for the week. Today is sunny with a high of 70 degrees and a low of 50 degrees. There's a low chance of rain today, so there's no need to tote your umbrella around with you. Thursday and Friday will bring some rain, but the Halloween weekend will be full of sunshine. The temperatures will range a decent bit for the rest of the week. Expect high 50s on Thursday and Friday, low 60s on Saturday, and mid to high 60s on Sunday. With the rain coming in, expect high humidity. The levels will be around 85% throughout the week. If you're traveling to Jacksonville to see the University of Georgia football team play the University of Florida, expect sunny skies above the stadium. There's a low chance of rain on Saturday. The high for the day will be 72 degrees and the low will be 54 degrees. For students who will be in St. Simons on Friday for Frat Beach, expect a mostly sunny day. Have a great Halloween weekend. This has been your Northeast Georgia Weather Report. For Grady Newsource, I'm Savannah Ware.
After the break, a tour at Newton County's fire training facility with former UGA running back Craig Lumpkin. And Jackson County's animal shelter will be expanding, and we find out what they have planned coming up next.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move, so I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day, I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
What do you think you're doing, Kevin? Was just gonna drive home. There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving. Like hearing voices? Like your text-to emoji ratio? Oh man, the selfies.
Selfie. Nailed it.
We all have warning signs that let us know that we're probably not okay to drive. Mine is pretending to be your subconscious. Craig, come on man, let's split a ride home.
How prepared is your family if a tornado shows up at your doorstep, or a flood, or a hurricane? You can't just turn away a natural disaster. That's why it's important to go to ready.gov/plan now. It has the tools and tips you need to make an emergency plan with your family. So if disaster comes knocking,
let's go.
You'll be ready to help keep your family safe.
It's just a pizza.
Yes. Make a plan today.
Regardless of where you are on your path to retirement, you can still take charge of your financial future today. Visit aceyourretirement.org and answer a few questions from Avo, your friendly digital retirement coach, for free tips, resources, and advice customized for your situation to help you feel confident and prepared for retirement. Retirement looks different for everyone. Make sure you're prepared for your financial future at aceyourretirement.org.
From August 5th to December 17th, Athens, Clark County, and surrounding residents are invited to the UGA Special Collections Library for an exhibit that teaches the public about the struggle of drinkable water for the years in Georgia. The public will be able to look at Georgia's aquatic infrastructure, such as how streams and rivers are used by people, the problem with the pollution, and the political water war with Georgia and its neighbors. There's an interactive exhibit, learning exhibit, and a historical exhibit. Thanks for watching. I'm Nikki Schatz. Have a safe and happy Halloween weekend.
Grady Newsource is a student production of the Grady College of Journalism and Mass Communication at the University of Georgia, which is solely responsible for its contents. Views expressed do not represent those of the administration nor the Board of Regents at the University System of Georgia.
The University of Georgia has...
What do you think you're doing, Kevin? Was just gonna drive home. There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving. Like hearing voices? Like your text-to emoji ratio? Oh man, the selfies.
Selfie. Nailed it.
We all have warning signs that let us know that we're probably not okay to drive. Mine is pretending to be your subconscious. Craig, come on man, let's split a ride home.
Part-time job, full-time hustle, all-time Shiro to all of us. You nurture, we listen. You teach, we thrive. You lift our spirits, but we've got to lay down the truth. It's time for you, our Shiro, to stretch for the stars. A free online chat can give you the personalized tips you need to start boosting your retirement savings today. Start saving more for retirement so you can feel prepared and live your life to the fullest. Visit aceyourretirement.org.
I think we're on. All right, hello everybody. We had a very, very smooth show. Thank you for providing great content. We started with worrying that we didn't have enough, and we ended up having too much of a good thing, and Tyler is still hurting. It really hurt him to float anybody's stuff, but it had to be done, unfortunately. And there's a lot of stuff that can, be repurposed. So, Harper, this was wonderful workaround after the emergency.
Yeah. No, absolutely. So today was awesome, guys. Really, really great show. Probably the first show, ironically, that I was able to just kind of sit back, relax, and watch and enjoy y'all's content that y'all put out. Ran really, really smoothly, despite us having to do like a little bit of a technical workaround. But honestly, that workaround was not that much of a headache for us because we have really experienced managers today. Overall, really great job. Y'all's audio levels were fine, very consistent, very stable. Some really, really beautiful, stunning visual packages. Really, really good jobs with like framing yourself in camera, especially on like some stand-ups. I know you were doing a lot of stuff at the stadium and like interviewing people on the street. You did a really good job of kind of keeping everything centered and everything looking good. That's also less editing for y'all backhand. But yeah, guys, really great work, and keep up the good work so we can do more shows like this. That's all I got.
Yeah, and next time, hint, hint, I have to push always. We have to do some live shots, guys. Yeah, but I'm glad that, Tyler, you kept it simple today because we didn't know where we stood with this workaround. So that was a good decision. But next week we've got, as I reminded you, special guest observing, critiquing the show. We have a very special show a day before the elections, so that should be very exciting for all of you. And I know a lot of you are working on things, and I will hand it over to Tyler, who did a great job. He's 3-3.
Yeah. Everyone did like an exceptional job with communicating. The packages were like, I think some of the best packages that I've seen this year. Like the visuals were really good. You all did a good job with that, communicating. And then my MMJs were incredible. You all really deserve like an award for putting together like so many stories out of nothing, like doing like quick turns and stuff like that. Thank you a lot. In terms of what we need to work on, I really can't think of anything. Like I think the show went really well. Do you have any suggestions? See, I wasn't stressed out until I got on the phone with Professor V, and she was making me realize everything that needed to be done. And then I started to kind of like scratch my head, and I was like, okay, yeah, I need to kind of, come up with some more stuff. So let me work with like my TV MMJs, or not my MMJs, but my news gatherers, and they did a really good job. So yeah, preparation, that could be one thing. Yeah.
We really rely on the TV MMJs to come prepared. We had a lot of news gatherers who really, like Davis. I don't want to mention names because I'm going to leave out somebody, so I'll just leave it at there. But we need people prepared to come. If you're a TV MMJ, we are really relying on you. Thank you to the news gatherers for stepping in. I think the quick turns turned out really good. Most of them had several sources, and I think the video, you guys are, already doing great, having great ideas as to how to innovate, how to use graphics, how to use more dynamic shots. And Alyssa, your package came together really good. A great portrait of this amazing star who's doing a very important service to our community. And this was your best work. You had really worked on the visualizing the B-roll and how it would work, and positioning him sitting with the interview that came out very well. And then you had the firefighter in a different position with the fire engine behind him. a reminder not to have something I think we could do better, just a reminder, one short stand-up, not more than one. The rest has to be B-roll and other visuals, but that I would like to see less of. I want to see really stand-ups, either a bridge stand-up for things that you can't visualize, or a thoughtful, conclusive one at the end. So just a reminder of one stand-up per package, short, not 30 seconds. And there were just one shot, I think, one interview where the lower third went over the person's mouth. Just a reminder about that. But all in all, very creative content. And Tyler had this great idea, seeing how Ballard's Braves quiz and Q&A went. Davis, you did a great job with recreating this idea in a different way. So we had a lot of variety of content. It wasn't just lead package, the usual thing. But again, I will zip it because I want to give an opportunity to our digital producer, 3-3.
Yeah, I think everyone did really well today as well. On the digital side, everyone was really good at getting me their content when I asked for it. I think the content that I was sent was really good too, so the quality was good and it was fast, and everyone was really good at communicating, so those are things we did well. And then on things to improve, there really wasn't much on the digital side to improve upon. I think just people have said it before, but like if there was a way to get it earlier, but there really isn't, because obviously people have to do their packages for broadcast, but that would really be the only thing.
One more thing to remind all of you producers, that's a small thing, and believe me, even professional producers in newsrooms sometimes forget that they've teased something and then they've floated it or they've moved it in the show. So then you end up making a promise you can't keep. So Nikki, you made a promise that you couldn't keep at the end, but that's the only thing that I have to watch the show again, but I didn't see anything else that, didn't go right with the show. So very well done, all of you. I want to go ahead and give you a chance to do your one-on-ones.
Okay, I was a news gatherer, though. Do I still do one? Oh, okay, gotcha. Okay, so for me, I was one thing I'm proud of and one thing I can improve on. Okay. One thing I'm proud of was just how fast I was able to. It was a quick turn for me, and I think it's always good to practice those. A true quick turn. Didn't know coming into the day that I was doing this. Tyler hit me, and I was like, well, I'll try it. I'll give it a go. One thing I can improve on is definitely I was overexposed in the interviews. The lighting was a little too bright on me, so just fixing that in the viewfinder. And I was talking to Mr. Black about that on how to improve that to be better in the future. And some more B-roll wouldn't have hurt, but it was kind of tough because I'm talking about a game in Jacksonville, so I tried to find a couple screen grabs, but yeah.
Having an excess content instead of having not enough. I had to cut it down from 2 minutes to 1:30. So I think having more content than not enough was definitely helped out a lot. Also, I think it helped out with timing too. It was easier to kind of gauge timing. One thing it definitely could work on is shorter stand-ups, like you said. I think my stand-up was 30 seconds, so that was way too long. And then probably visualizing B-roll before I write my script. I think could have had a little bit better B-roll. It's kind of short for time. I was going to go to the election office, but I had to come here. But Sam helped me out with some voting B-roll. But probably visualizing B-roll before I write the script would be a little bit easier. So.
One thing I did well on was, like David said, I started out the day with the mindset that I was doing something completely different. 5 minutes before my main source and the only other interview I needed to do canceled on me, and I was able to do a quick turn on this vaccine mandate that UGA will be upholding. And I'm proud of myself for being able to do that quick turn and reach out to several sources and more than I needed. One thing I could improve on is multitasking. I realized how much time I could have spent gathering B-roll while I was walking around campus to the newsroom, and I could have been using that to get more diverse B-roll.
One thing that I think that I did better on this time, well, I definitely did not just do all this in a day. I really prepared, and I've spent the past week working on this. And so just kind of navigating the time to be able to go, I mean, because Newton County is an hour away, and like do all of this is definitely something I did better. I also implemented cross dissolve, which sounds so funny, but it was something just like an editing skill that I've picked up now in Premiere that I definitely appreciate how it looks better. Something I could do better, wish I would have put a tag out just because nobody realized when it ended. So I think if I were to go back and like add a tag out, that would be how I would fix it.
One thing I think I did good, I liked the B-roll I got. I did look like kind of a freak in Walmart getting all those videos. But I think it turned out pretty good, so it was worth it. And then one thing I need to work on, and I've run into the issue I think multiple times now, and I just keep forgetting when I do Zoom interviews to ask the source to move back a little bit, because I keep getting the lower thirds a little bit on the face, like a little too close than I would like. So that's definitely something I need to remember if I'm doing those virtual interviews. But yeah.
Do we want to do another MMJ first, or I can go too? Never mind. I was happy with my hand movement. That's been a big improvement for me over this semester. I thought I looked less awkward. Still have a long way to go, but I feel like I've come a long way in that sense. And then the weather graphics, I thought I could have had more graphics. I thought that would have made it a little more visually interesting.
I'm actually really proud of the way my Grady Daily turned out this time. Last time I just kind of did it on Zoom with the background, and this time I changed it up with different angles and walking in it. So that just made me like feel a little more secure in my journalism. But one thing I can work on next time would be improving on my facials going with the stories while anchoring.
So I did sports today. It was very fun considering the Braves are in the World Series. So I enjoyed, and one thing I did well is like watching the game last night and then turning that into part of my story today and like remembering what happened. And then one thing I can work on is being a little bit more relaxed. Like I felt like I was rigid in my hand movement. So hopefully getting to Savannah's level where it looks more natural and confident.
So I had the package that I kind of did like different than a regular package. So that was something that I think I did well and I was proud of, as I tried something new and I used the smartboard for the first time. And I really enjoyed doing that and I thought it was fun. I wish I'd been able to like do part of it live, but just with timing, it didn't work out. So as far as something I could improve on, I would say timing, just because my interviews were really spread apart. And that's kind of just the nature of when the sources were available to talk. But it was definitely a little stressful, like cutting it really close. I think it finally we transferred at like 4:52. So that was definitely putting it close, but yeah.
So something I did well, this was kind of a harder story to figure out like sources and stuff for, and I ended up finding a mom and got, you know, a really good quote about how she felt about her kids on social media. So I was happy with that because I had a really hard time. I was reaching out to teachers and parents, and with a quick turn like this, obviously teachers were all teaching and that type of thing. So I was happy with, you know, actually getting a quote. Something I could have done better, I definitely think I spent way too long looking through the actual video of the hearing. because it was like a 3-hour video, and I didn't watch the whole thing, obviously, but even just and trying to find quotes took way more time than I even realized I was taking at the time. So just getting a little bit quick and research, I guess, would be I could improve.
And that was a very complex story for a quick turn, and you did very well finding all these sources. And did we miss anybody? A lot of you, thank you, contributed readers and videos and VO SOTs, and that helped a lot, give us options to time. And just wanted to say, with Tyler, he had a lot of content, but most of it, like he hadn't unfloated the 2-minute weather, and so he had the 2-minute and the 1-minute, and these were things that were really getting his show. And I notice it with other people. I always look at it because I know that usually you guys forget to float one of the versions of weather and sports, and then you think you have enough content, but when you float the 2-minute weather and just leave the 1-minute weather, you end up with a different timing. So that's just a little reminder, in addition to when think of your teases when you make big changes and move things around, and also don't forget to float the weather version you're not going to be using in the show, so that you know early on whether you have enough content or not. But Tyler did great, and so I just wanted to remind you guys so that it doesn't make things more stressful for you a little bit later in the day. I'm really proud of the people who challenged themselves. Sampi, I want to hear, how was this experience with you? You challenged yourself not just to kind of do something last minute, but also this was not your usual territory, or maybe correct me if I'm wrong, you've done in other classes politics, but you came up with good questions. I challenged you a little bit to come up with more specific questions, and you knew your stuff because immediately you knew what I meant, and you made them more specific and more relevant to the issues that people in Oconee County have in the back of their mind as they make this crucial decision. So thank you for challenging yourselves, and Shaylin too. I thought our anchor did very well, kept things together, knew her things. Though you made me nervous by not being there 5 till 5. It's like, where is she? Anyway, so I want to, who's producing on Monday? Okay, darling. So what are your plans? What do you need to let people know to do for you? Have you given it a little bit of thought, or do you want to brainstorm a little bit in the remaining moments?
Well, it is the day before elections, so I mean, I would just say really get in your counties, and I mean, everybody should already know what's going on, but really, find those stories and see if you can try and get those interviews as well as from, voters too. So that'd be great.
Can I ask if you're thinking of doing a whip around that I showed you guys in the morning? Yeah. With really, with quick, what we call whips, meaning that they're like 45 seconds. I mean, really distilled what voters have to know in each county. It's going to be different. The challenges will be different. The issues will be different. The important candidates, all candidates are important, but the ones that are most crucial will be different. So that would just, a stinger would be great.
Well, I can honestly say I haven't thought fully about the show on Monday because I had my own package to get done today, but I know that the whip around thing was really cool, and I think that it would be great if we could pull it off. So I think that would be cool.
So I'm not telling you what to do. So this is just an idea that I threw out there, but I'm really curious to see. You guys may come up with something more interesting. So you've got time to think about you as a voter. What would you want to know? on this on the day before election, when you're really making up your mind. A lot of people decide. I don't know about you, but I'm sort of undecided until the last moment usually. Sometimes I'm more decided than others, or maybe with election law, I don't know exactly, I'm not quite sure how things are going to work out. So you might want to do it in a different way. Now have a political scientist who's going to lay out the general idea of what has changed in Northeast Georgia, so the viewers can get the big picture of the top of the show. How have things changed because of the new voting law on election day? We'll be focusing on election day. When will we be able to have the results? Things like that. And what are the most important races and issues in general for Northeast Georgia? That's another way to do it. And then just focus with a few reporters on the most crucial things that that expert tells you are, like Professor Bullock, or that tells you are really the things to watch. The question to a political scientist ahead of the elections, maybe get an interview by the end of this week, is what will you be watching? What are the most important things in the 6 counties? And then go from there, just to get a background information, and then use the interview, selected quotes from the interview, to do a kind of an overall package, and the rest you can use for background, and sort of so that you know where you need to focus your reporters and what they need to give viewers before the election. So the focus should be like a laser beam. What do people need to know a day before the election? And I think if you get the guidance of a political scientist and then spread the information to the other reporters and talk to your producer, whoever wants, if you want to assign that to someone, just throwing out ideas. There are many different ways to do this, and you don't have to do it the way I suggest. I would love to see you innovate. So you've got 5 more minutes if there's something you want to...
Well, since I was in MJ, I guess I could say like the 2 things I did well and 1 thing I can improve on. I want to say that when I was doing my interview, it was kind of like really nice because he gave me a lot of information about animal shelter, and unfortunately it didn't air, but I mean, I think it'll be a good progressing story because they are having like a lot of updates with the animal shelter. But I created like this kind of warm environment for them to really open up to me, and it really benefited because he gave me so much information. The second thing I could work on, or the thing that I could work on, would be making sure that I have 2 sources secured, because it only ended up being like a 1-source story, but there were some other things that kind of like threw me for a loop with the sources, but that's it.
Thank you, Riley. Sorry we had to float. Really, Tyler was brokenhearted. At the end, he was like asking me, can I unfloat something more? I said, but Tyler, you're on time. Where are we going to... He was desperately trying to find a way to use your package and the rest, but it's always good to have more than less. I'm tired with this, and so I'll let you go. You've made enormous progress this week again, and I love you. I'm really proud of all of you, and so let's do even better next week. And I'm excited for you, Riley. Give yourselves a big hand.